So if you're watching this video, a couple things. Number one, the GoPro had a challenge with the early light. So at first it's kind of grainy for, I don't know, the first minute, and then it clears up as the sun comes up. But what I need you all to understand when you watch this video, the passion between Elliot and Ady, and then Gary Wales and Ady talking about this car. For me, this is probably the best video we ever did, because it captures not only a period of time, but a sense of passion, love, energy that I just have never seen anybody talk about cars at Supercar Sunday. And I wish you guys could feel what I felt when Elliot and Ady were talking, and Gary Wales pulled up, and seeing everybody smiling. It was just unbelievable. And then the best part was that Ady took Elliot for a drive in that car to the Rockstore. They had lunch together. He brought him home, and that was on Elliot's bucket list, to see the car, to just see it. And Ady gave him a whole experience, an entire afternoon in that car. So this video to me is very magical, very special, and I want to thank, of course, Ady for sharing the car, Elliot and Gary Wales, and of course the sponsor, Porsche Woodland Hills. But it was a beautiful day. Here we go, off to the video. Thank you. Good morning, Dustin Troyan here, Supercar Sunday, brought to you by Porsche Woodland Hills. Ady was the first car here. He brought something that I've only seen at his house.
Is that Tommy Manville's car? My God.
How do you know? Did I ever show that to you?
Are you kidding? This is the most beautiful Rolls ever built. It's famous. It's gorgeous.
I did not know that you know the car. I thought I brought it here, and you knew. You're the first one who came like that to me and said, this is Tommy's car. So what do you know? And how do you know about this car?
How do I know about this? Between all the wives he had, his love for Rolls Royce never ended. That's it. You know, and the car is absolutely overwhelming. It's a short wheelbase. It's gorgeous.
Look like you get emotional about this thing.
Oh, this is it, kid. There is no better. This is it. This is just, I'm so glad I got this close to one before I expired. I'm telling you.
Ady, you're gonna have to take him for a ride when the show's over.
Of course.
You're gonna have to.
Okay, I will.
Oh, man.
I mean, that's the first that anybody ever came to me and actually knew who the original owner of this car was and how significant it is.
You told me, but I had no clue.
Most people don't, because, you know, look.
You're not old enough to remember these golden days. This is when they really made cars. I'm telling you something. It's just one of a rare breed, and well, at least he could afford it. Actually, the wives cost him more.
The divorces cost him money. I heard rumors that he would get, for every wedding, he would get $250,000 bonus. But he started, you know, he started in 1925 when he was 31 years old and inherited 10 million. I did the math on the web to see what 10 million 1925 is worth today. 226 million. So imagine being a 31-year-old kid back then with what equivalent to $226 million of today, you know, and he was wise enough not to lose it in 1929 when the stock market crashed.
Sure.
He did not lose his fortune.
Actually, I think they're long gone from lawsuits because of John's Manville's.
Who's gone? The family?
Oh yeah. They made insulation that turned out to be
asbestos.
Yeah, asbestos, and it turned out to be a lung cancer.
Lung cancer.
For some people.
Oh, I see.
And there it was, you know. So if you would have stayed around, it would have been broke.
Elliot, I got to tell you something. You've been out here at the car show forever.
Yeah.
And I'm shocked that in the dark you only saw the back of this car, and you jumped out and you knew immediately what it was. I'm shocked.
Me too.
Right?
I listen. I know cars when I saw this thing, when I bought it, I didn't even know what the car was and how significant this Rolls Royce. I just thought that this was the most beautiful Rolls Royce that I've ever seen in my life when I saw that car.
And I gotta tell you something. It's 6:30 in the morning to see this car with half-shut eyes. Bang. That's it. It is just beautiful.
I'm shocked. You got out and you I
You-
couldn't believe it, because Ady always talks about Tommy. I had no idea, and Elliot knows a lot about cars too, but that's pretty cool.
That's the story of my life, kid. I have all that.
I'm gonna start calling you
unnecessary
kid.
knowledge.
Well, compared to him, I'm maybe a kid, you know. But
I have all this unnecessary knowledge that nobody is interested in.
no, but knowing about the car itself is amazing that he did. You know.
You bring it out again because people have to see this.
Yeah.
Unless you've absolutely seen it and been
Yeah.
exposed to it, you can't appreciate the quality and the workmanship of really the best of the best.
This one is.
Yes, and the man had the ability to see what he wanted, and this is his design.
He designed it. Tommy did.
You betcha. You
Huh.
betcha. This was his world.
Really?
That and getting married.
11 times. No, 13 times. 11 women. Tommy had his hands full.
I struggled to get through one.
I want to show you something. I want to show you something. We have a few minutes here. Okay. A book here. Okay. So, little did I know about the car, right? But when I found out, my girlfriend went on Amazon to look for something about Tommy Manville, and then came up with this book. Let me put it here, maybe you'll see it in the light a little bit. Can you see that?
The Lives and Whys of Tommy Manville.
So I'm getting this book, I'm opening it up, and I'm getting all pissed off. It's a used book.
Come
But
on.
yes, but look, it was written by Anita Manville. Then I googled to see who she was. So she was wife number 9. Then she dedicated it to some people, probably in a bookstore or something, in 1974.
Wow.
So that's signed by Anita.
That's
And
cool.
then I go through. I just want to have a book to know who Tommy was. I go into this, and look. Can you see?
Yeah, there's the car.
Can you see what it says?
What does it say? I don't have my glasses.
Georgina and Tommy admiring the new custom Rolls Royce he had just purchased. Tommy was driving the car the first time. I never saw him. So that is the car.
Yep.
That is the book. This thing is written by his wife. You know, it's amazing. No, the story. That's what I like about some of the stuff that I'm getting. Sometimes I don't know that I'm gonna come across a story like that, but it's
So you just bought it because you love the appearance, the
when
design.
that's correct. When I saw that,
And in your collection, is this in the top 10 cars that you
I think
purchased?
so. Yeah, for
Okay.
sure, for sure. Yeah. When I
Was
saw
this
it
before the 959 and Jag?
before the 959, before the Jaguar. Yeah.
So this is kind of what you started collecting first.
Yeah, exactly. That was March of 2021.
Got it.
I think the 959 I got after that. I did not know.
Thanks, fellas.
And
My
then
day
people-
is
I-
made.
Well, you have to take him for a ride when the show's
will.
over. He's going to take you
Wait
for a
a
ride.
minute, I want to drive it. Unfortunately, I won't know what side of the road to go on. But it's God Almighty.
You know, it's also interesting that the car is a right-hand drive, where WRAITH were actually, I think, offered with both option.
You know, I was going to say the same thing. That's adding knowledge. That's adding knowledge.
Yeah, if I had to dig, now that's guessing. That's not something that I know actually. It is.
Get to work, Elliot.
It's just the snobbish thing. I'm in New York City and I'm very British, and I'm driving a car which is a right-hand drive. It was very important to him. I read that also, that inside, under the hood,
Okay.
it says made in
for.
England.
Oh, interesting.
It's inside there, it says made in England,
So it's not
London, and all that. But
it's not a Cadillac or
but
an
the
Auburn.
body is it's New York, Can you see the plate? Is there enough light?
No, but
No. No, not enough light, huh?
no. It's just
All right, hold on 1 second. So we'll fix it. Let's see if that's now you can you see the plate now? Oh, it's too down.
it kind of reflects. What does it say?
It says Inskip, New York City.
Wow.
So they were Rolls Royce dealers in New York, but they also had a custom shop. And I don't know how big the custom shop was, or they were coach builders, but
I wish you guys could. I mean, it's just.
look at the sky behind it.
I know. So I want you to stand right there.
Okay, now it's amazing, no?
What a shot right there.
Right?
I always need a shot for Ady for the covers.
Yeah.
You know, do you photograph well?
Yeah, I do. My grandfather used to be a photographer before the war. A really famous one.
We've been so busy, and I was out for a little bit, but I miss doing my What Did Ady Bring?
Is that
And,
what Ady bring, or are you going to do what Ady bring later on, or add a segment to it?
Well, we'll add a
We can
segment,
add a segment.
but for the first guy to get out and know the story,
It's amazing.
you love stuff like that.
Just like, remember the guy with the Roy 80?
I knew you were gonna say that.
Okay, so
Here's the problem: is that I know American cars, you know, particularly muscle cars. I know some trucks, but what everybody says, including my wife and my mom, is that when they watch the videos that Ady and I do, he knows so much about the cars, and sometimes I feel it can be challenging for Ady to have a conversation with me or guys like me who know the American stuff but don't know the history, because you love the history and the car, but a deep dive into the history, not just the surface.
Yeah.
You like to follow the inception of the car, from the idea to the development to the actual product.
Right.
And then in this case, who owned it and the lineage of the car and his actual life.
Right, exactly. I mean, there was a story. I was at Pebble Beach this week, not this year, and so there's a painter who had a booth, and he's doing custom painting for people. So I said, "Can you paint my Rolls Royce?" He said, "Sure, no problem." I said, "Can you show me a picture?" I'm showing him a picture on my phone, and he goes to his phone and says, "I painted this car." I said, "You painted this car?" He said, "No, I painted the sister car." I said, "Seriously?" He said, "Yeah, there's a guy who has a 300 car collection, not in California, I think in Colorado, but I may be mistaken about the state." Okay? And that was his favorite car, or still is. And he owns the car. And he had it, I painted it with the background of his house and all that. I said, "So you know the guy?" He said, "Yes." "So you know the story why there is a second car actually made?"
Why?
He said, "Yes, because the guy who owned the second car knew the history of his car. And that was a guy in Florida or New York who saw this one and wanted a car just like this built. But Tommy had a deal with Inskip for one car only. He agreed that Inskip will build car number 2.
Wow. All right, so we're gonna get more on this. We got to set up, and then Ady's gonna put it in
Okay,
your
I'm
car.
gonna drive
But
you.
hold on, I want to turn this off. I want to get a picture right here. The sky's beautiful. Hold on. So Gary Wales just pulled up in one of his creations. We parked him next to Ady's Rolls Royce.
Wow. This is something. That's the old Tommy Manville car that anyhow fellow I knew, Andrew Darling had that car. And there were 2 of these made, and they were called the Honeymoon Special. And you can tell why it was
The Honeymoon Special.
Really? That's what they call the car?
Yeah, oh, it's the Honeymoon Special.
Why
That
do
is
they
a
call
very
it?
special car. Everybody in the Rolls Royce clubs in the world knows what that car is.
Seriously?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I mean, you could tell us now, enlighten us on stuff that we don't know.
Yeah, oh absolutely.
So is
the
that?
car in gear so it doesn't roll one into the other?
Nah, I haven't crashed in one in over a week.
Yeah. No.
I'm closing it up.
Oh, we'll close it up. Okay, good.
So Gary, in your opinion, is this the most beautiful Rolls Royce ever made?
Well, certainly there's one of the 2.
What's the other one?
My Frenay. I wish to hell I had it here.
You have it
We
at home?
have them both here, man. We got to put them together sometime because they are the 2 most beautiful Rolls Royce in the world. This one was, the body was designed and built in New York.
He knows that too.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, now,
oh,
yeah,
sure.
that's right.
Well,
Friend
guys,
of
stand
mine,
in front of the car.
Harry Newton used to be
Oh,
the
wait, hold on, what?
friend of mine, Harry Newton, used to be
the guy that managed the
Inskip?
Rolls.
Inskip.
He was the
Inskip.
Inskip guy.
Oh.
And,
So
I
you
knew
know
all
much about
this
you
stuff.
know about these Inskips?
Oh, sure.
So were they
I-
just dealers or they were coach builders as well?
They were dealers, coach builders, but they had a very special thing, which I, like a stupid fool, got rid of. Harry Newton was the last general manager of Inskip. And when you go to, it was 2 floors. When you come down,
Wait, were they in Manhattan or Long Island?
I'm not really
Okay,
sure. I don't
okay.
remember now.
Okay.
But it was 2 floors, and when you came down the steps, in the middle there was a little table there, and on it was a gold lion. A gold lion about this big.
Let me guess.
Harry Newton.
Let me guess. You have that gold lion.
I had it. I don't have it anymore. I sold it like an ass. I got it from Harry Newton as a gift.
So
In
Harry
fact, I
was the
gave
shop
him-
manager?
I gave him no.
He was the owner?
He was the general manager,
general manager
for
of
Inskip
Inskip.
Motors
Okay.
in New York. And he gave me, I gave him $700. He needed a little bucks, so I gave him $700. And I'll find them. I got the magazines.
Really?
And I'll find it. I'll get it to you, so
Wow.
you'll have that. But that's the story of that. That's the true story of it. Harry Newton also was a fantastic writer, and he wrote all about all these cars. These were his favorite ones.
I know. Now, when these cars
Yeah.
were made at Inskip had a production of multiple cars, or they were bringing in one at a time? No, these were two were built.
These are
I know. But as the factory, which they were making a car, was it one after another? So while they were working
They
on
do
this,
it when they were.
were they working
they
on
did
multiple
like-
cars at a time?
Okay, you know where the Labradette Rolls is, the one with the big cover over the Rolls grill and that, and the burgundy one. Okay, I had that one for a while. That also
Now you missed my
was
question.
that
I
was
want to
a-
know how large the operation of Inskip was.
big enough to build these.
But how
One at
many
a time.
how many do they build a year, do you think?
Simultaneously.
They built a few cars a year. It wasn't a
So
big
that's what it
production,
is.
very small production, but they built things like this.
How do you
little
build? How do you
fantastic
build
work of
stuff
art.
like that? How do you
This
make a
is all
fender?
the things that you would want in a car.
How they create fenders like this?
Oh, that's just
English
like,
wheel?
yeah, it's English wheels.
in by hand.
You'll probably make up a buck and then you go from there.
How long does it take to make a fender like this? If you
Well, it just depends on the
Months,
artist.
no?
But it takes a little time to do this. But I mean, look at it.
it's
The
insane.
excellence. It's impeccable. There's, anybody that sees it, if they don't see the beauty in this thing, they might as well go get your eyes poked out. I'm telling you, this is when you pull up with this, you've just ended the game. That's what I always like to do with my car. My thing is the same way.
Yeah.
And that Bentley's pretty hot looking too. But
You customized that, right?
yeah, I made design and built that and built that one.
Yeah.
But that's nothing to compare to this. Look at the work on this.
I know.
This combines Spagoni Falaci, Saucek with all of these beautiful.
Now, was there
chrome lines.
inspiration? It looks like almost like a French Delahaye inspiration. No?
The hell with the French on that one. They're very French. They're all Frenchy looking
Yeah,
because
right.
they're all swoopy. But you don't get any swoopier than this. Can you imagine Tommy Manville? Here is one well-known son of a gun, and he would pull in with this, and people would go, ah. Go to a Concours, people. Two kinds of people when you pull into a car show.
Yeah.
The ones that go, oh shit, might as well go home.
Yeah.
And the other ones, oh, look at that. Well, that's oh, look at that.
Yeah.
But Gary, why do they call it the honeymoon special?
Because it was, Tommy Manville was quite the man.
He was a big player.
He was a big time player, and everything he did was
Playing.
overboard. Nothing, everything in excess, nothing in moderation.
Gotcha.
That I stole from him too. Everything in excess, nothing
I've
in moderation.
heard you say that before. I've heard
Yeah.
you say that
Look
before.
at that. I mean, what else could
Now,
you do to that?
you know
car?
about Silver Wraith, right?
Yeah.
You know about them.
Yeah,
Did
about
they
'em.
come right-hand drive and a left-hand drive?
Right.
From a factory, from London, from
No,
England.
no.
All Silver Wraith are right-hand drive.
Pretty much right hand.
Right-hand, all of them?
Yeah, but this is a very Fagoni Falaci deal.
Now, Goni Falaci had something to do with this car?
No,
no, nothing.
No,
it
no,
was,
no.
It was.
This is a very French design.
I see.
Okay, and he incorporated the fin on the back, which was a lot of Delahaye's, Pagani Falashi, even my Frenet. All the.
But that Wales guy, he does things like that too.
Oh yeah, I've heard about it.
Yeah, he's a troublemaker.
Jerk.
So that's why there is some, as
Oh,
we
sure.
can see, some French Delahaye.
Look at this. Look at this. Even the handle.
Yeah, that's
a
beautiful.
Brewster. That's a special Brewster handle
Oh,
type of thing.
look at the
I know,
detail.
I know,
Look at
this
the
is-
detail how the stainless steel go right on top of each other. Look,
This is the detail
look
that
at
made
this. When I
this
open
car.
this door, look.
Yeah,
you
I
see?
know.
You see how one goes right above the other?
This is the details that make this so special. Nobody else in the world. This, if I had a chance to have this and my Frenet, I'd take them both.
Both. That would be.
I,
that would be.
a broad singing in the game of Can You Top This? You just won.
That's it.
Kicked everybody's ass.
Huh.
This is
Maybe you
it.
should go home and bring your Frenet.
So I have never heard him talk about any car the way he's talking about this car. That's a true story.
yeah.
I've never heard you talk about a car like you talk about this.
I love this car. How can you not love this car?
So where's your Frenet? At home?
No, unfortunately, I sold it, and it's now the most expensive pre-owned post-war Rolls Royce or Bentley in the history of the world. I've held that record since April Fool's Day 2006.
And so you got fooled to a degree with your
I
own
sold
mind
it.
to sell it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I had
Yeah.
a lot of money tied up, and that was a lot of money to me. I got $1,700,000 for it.
What-
Then it sold for $2.5 million. Then it sold for $4 million, and that went to one of the richest men in the world. He probably spent his lunch money for a whole week to get it.
Yeah,
And it's still gone.
Where is it? It's
I have
in
no
your,
idea.
You don't know if it's in this country even? Or it is?
Might be in Mexico.
Yeah.
Who knows?
But if you go to Gary, you've been to Gary's house, on the wall in the big garage is the picture of him at Barrett Jackson, right?
Yeah.
With it.
With it going down at $1,700,000 something. I sold 3-4 cars that weekend. I sold my Blue Train. I sold my 2 other cars. The first Beast, La Bestione, that went for a couple $100,000.
I wonder what this thing is worth now. I have no idea. You know?
I don't think it could bring more than 5 or 10 million for the first outing.
You think so?
You think so?
Yeah, what? You want another one? You buy the other one. Find it. That, of course, that's worth money. My Frenet probably worth 20
Addy.
million now, and this. And 20
What do you
million.
think?
never know.
What he just told you,
You buy the right stuff, man. That's
Addy? What do you
This is
think?
it.
What do you think if he's right and someone would pay $10 million for this?
eventually. But why would you sell it?
I wouldn't sell it.
That's the point. I would never sell them either. I wouldn't sell it. I'm going to be buried in that son of a bitch. See what I did here? This is, I tried
Now,
to do,
What is the, oh.
GLW, that's me.
Oh,
But look,
that's why okay, so you can explain that
I
later.
want to show you a couple things. You see the line of this
Yeah.
coach? That's Cinderella's coach. Think about Cinderella when you see her in a coach with the horses.
Does that
is
make you
the
Prince
coach.
Charming, Gary?
That, well, Prince Charming, that's me.
So
But that's why I did that.
so that would probably be
You want to have them on
this.
your...
See, no, look at this. That's probably somebody who restored it.
No, that was the guy that owned it.
Who?
That was, I don't know now.
Oh, one of the guys that
was Andrew Darling.
Andrew Darling
I
put
would
that
have
in.
to bet on that. That was his deal, because when you do
It's a little
initials
dirt.
on the car,
Yes.
it's like my name, Gary L. Wales. It's Gary with a W in the middle, which is just a speck larger, and then the L on the right.
I always
So
wondered
that's
about
how you
that.
do that.
Yeah, I always wondered why you had it in that order.
That's the way you do that. And take your middle initial, or your last name, that would be the
Next.
center one, and then your first, and then your
Gotcha.
middle initial. But this is, I was just flabbergasted when I saw it. I saw it once before
You
when you
have
had
seen
out
it
here a
before?
long time ago with the top up. Looks fantastic with the top up too.
Right.
But they did everything. It's one of those things, they didn't do this for the herd. They did this for someone that was distinguished, that wanted something totally special, and they let them fly.
Right.
They didn't clip their wings.
Addy, you're
Look at
distinguished.
Yeah, right.
that. It's just absolutely unbelievable. what can you do to that? The only thing that they could have done and didn't is maybe make the windshield just a little V in the middle.
Right.
But they didn't.
They did a
but,
flat- they put
but
a
it
flat.
looks absolutely fantastic like that. So it's probably the nicest windshield, flat windshield I've ever seen.
Right.
Big comes down into the chrome, works into it. Look at this. It's
I
absolutely
added my own
fantastic.
wheels. I stuck my rear view mirror on it, just so I can see what's behind me
all right.
with the little vacuum thing. Because
Well,
look at
hell.
the little tiny mirror.
That's very smart.
Yeah.
Because you want to be able to see around you. because
Exactly.
While
And
you're
I can
driving-
always remove it.
While you're driving it, people are going like this.
Exactly.
And they're driving India. That's why.
Yeah, I wish you guys could see this. These two guys are going to talk forever. I mean, Hattie knows a lot about
Where
cars.
do you go from here?
Gary knows a lot about cars, but Gary really knows the history of this car on a personal level.
I have a very similar one on the front
And
end.
Addie's just absorbing all
But that
this.
was the Paris show car for 47 who won the first two major Concorde, the Elegance in Paris in 47.
Yours?
Engon and the Boulogne.
The $1.7 million one that
Yeah.
you sold.
So just look at this. It's just, they don't get any better. And this is strictly an American setup with the size of these and the chroming pieces.
Right.
They did
I just
not
found
mi-
this light. It broke for $30. It's
Oh, okay.
It's an
If you
MG.
didn't, I probably have one. I'd give you
I
one.
just bought it for $30. It's an MG. It's a British Lucas license plate light for $30.
I'll see if what mine is. Mine might be Rolls. If it is, I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
But this is, where do you go from here? In the game of CAD, you top this, you win.
Wow.
It was
But
Rolls.
that's-
That's
how
and
Tommy
listen.
was.
In my opinion, that's a hell of a compliment coming from Gary.
Yeah. I
Look,
don't give compliments
look,
out unless
we
they're
just came this
deserved.
morning.
He's never complimented any of my cars. So.
This morning, and we just all of a sudden I'm walking in, and Elliot knows the car. You know.
I got to tell you something. This is one of my favorite mornings. Was this morning to listen to you guys talk about this, to see the smile on your face, the smile on your face. This is priceless to me right now. Sincerely,
Yeah.
this is absolutely priceless.
It doesn't happen every day, right?
No, not at
It
all.
don't happen very often, you know.
And then for Gary to show up. you
And
know,
usually he shows up at
he
8 o'clock.
He show up at 8 o'clock or 10 o'clock in a sometimes in a modern car,
Yeah.
in a Bentley or whatever, and then he shows up in this.
When I knew exactly where we were going to put him to.
Where, but you didn't coordinate that.
No,
with him.
not at all.
No,
No, I didn't
It
tell
was
him I was
spontaneous.
coming. But I don't want to miss my best friend's thing.
I'm lucky to have a lot of great people in my life. I'll tell you.
Boy, I'll tell you, this is something.
All right, I'm going to set up, guys.
Okay. All right. Come on, my dog.
Okay, I'm going to go and get my burrito.
Great morning. Geez, the wind, huh? What do you think, Addie? Good morning? You didn't expect that with either of them, did you?
No,
Unbelievable.
No, it just happened. I mean, things happen that were not planned.
Unbelievable.
Artie,
It
come
almost
here.
looked like it's
Come here.
staged.
Come here.
Unbelievable.
Stand right here next to me.
Let me just put this stuff in here.
Yep. Don't want to look like a
I'd love to.